Our commencement speaker today is a senior public relations consultant, motivational speaker, and career coach. With more than 29 years of experience in the public relations arena, Cheryl Procter-Rogers currently runs a Chicago-based national public relations consulting practice called A Step Ahead Public Relations. In 2006, she was the national president and CEO of Public Relations Society of America, the world's largest organization in public relations professionals, for public relations professionals and students. Ms. Procter-Rogers is a sought-after lecturer, keynote and motivational speaker to professionals and students throughout the United States. As a career coach, she helps clients focus and maximize their efforts to achieve a successful career or to jumpstart a stalled one. She helps clients build and enhance critical skills needed for success at any level. But perhaps most importantly to you graduates, among her many accomplishments, she too has received her MBA from Keller Graduate School of Management. Ladies and gentlemen, Cheryl Procter-Rogers.
Thank you so much, President Deal. And I just want to send a special thanks to Louis Zanin, who worked diligently to make the request for which I was honored to accept possible. To members of the faculty, Board of Directors, National Advisory Board members, distinguished guests, and to the class of 2009, congratulations. You know, it's hard to believe just 9 short years ago, I celebrated the new millennium by marrying my dear friend, Terry Rogers, and the long-awaited completion of my MBA from this fine institution. You see, I emphasize long-awaited because at the ripe old age of 28, I was fortunate to open a public relations firm with Anheuser-Busch and Coca-Cola as my first clients. I was armed with a BS degree in English, a thimble full of work experience, a great deal of tenacity, and absolutely no clue how to run a business and manage cash flow. When I found myself working temp for pocket change as I waited to be paid in 60 and sometimes 90 days, I promised myself I would return to school and receive my MBA. Of course, life happened, which included marriage and the birth of my daughters, Maisha and Chantel. And despite my lack of experience running a business, it continued to grow. And I continued to build credibility with my clients. When I was included in senior management meetings, my elation was quickly deflated. I remember thinking, gosh, these guys use an awful lot of jargon. To my personal horror and quiet embarrassment, I learned this jargon was basic business literacy. Thanks to my dad, I began to read everything business. It was my father that gave me the greatest gift of all, the joy of reading and learning new things. If I heard it once, I heard it a million times. There is absolutely nothing in the world that cannot be learned or experienced in a good book. Here's to fathers on your special day. You are truly special. When I began the Keller graduate degree program a decade later, I felt a sense of relief and exhilaration and was eager to embrace the promise of Keller to give me a professional edge. When I graduated in 2000, I knew I had gained the confidence and understanding of the world of business to raise my aspirations to new heights. Thank you, Keller, for nurturing my intellect, building my business acumen, and inspiring me to dream bigger. I left the graduation ceremony with the mission of creating a new normal for leadership. Graduates, I'm sure your goals today are no different than mine 9 years ago. To position ourselves as valuable assets to our organizations and our customers. Yes, times are tough, and it's difficult to be cheery about a recession. But truly, this is an opportunity for each of us to create a new normal for leadership. Recently, I lunched with a business colleague who stated, "I will be glad when things get back to normal." The notion that one's past view of the world will somehow be restored is just unrealistic. Ladies and gentlemen, we are not experiencing merely another shift of the business cycle, but a realignment of the order of things in our society. When the recession ends, and it will end, and the world is full of endless possibilities, where will you be positioned? It's going to depend largely on how you continue to invest in your personal and professional life right now. Today, I will focus on creating and enhancing a new normal for leadership that will be shaped by how we lead, build credibility, and invest our time and resources. You know, as leaders, we must create environments that epitomize the level of excellence we desire in the workplace. And through our leadership, champion ethics. We must create environments where ethical dilemmas are faced with clearly defined moral standards that are practiced at all levels of the organization. We are obliged to embrace a leadership code that provides for free flow of information, fair and honest competition, and disclosing information, good or bad, and revealing conflicts of interest. Unfortunately, it's not enough to have good intentions. To fully embrace principled leadership, one must be willing to ask tough questions, and when faced with moral or ethical challenges, realize the consequences of an action or inaction. Every business and every business person will at some point face an ethical dilemma. Do you hire someone from your competitor because he promises to reveal confidential information? Do you release information knowing that critical facts have been omitted? We all assume that everyone knows right from wrong, right? Wrong. Surprisingly, people disagree about the definition of right and wrong all the time. Here's a scary statistic. 80% of teens either somewhat or strongly agree that they are prepared to make ethical business decisions when they join the workforce. Yet more than a third, 38%, think that you have to break the rules in school to succeed. The subject of ethics is not always black and white. Situation ethics can present clear judgment dilemmas. Take the cases of corporate bonuses for failing corporations and arriving to congressional hearings on corporate jets. Sometimes, you may not realize you've been in an ethical dilemma until the drama starts. What about the friend who has tried to rationalize an unscrupulous act by claiming it served some greater good? Guilty. 2 years ago, my 17-year-old daughter landed an internship at a publishing company in New York following her high school graduation. I was thrilled for her. We made reservations at the local hostel, purchased airline tickets, and wished her the best. I would join her a few days later when business took me to New York. I could check on her. Imagine my horror when the chaperone at the publishing company phoned to say she couldn't check into the hostel due to the 18-year age requirement. The plan was then changed to where she would stay with the chaperone until I arrived in New York. Now, paying $400 a night for my 17-year-old was just not an option. So this was an opportunity to develop a new plan.